Atelier Wen, a Chinese watch that costs $3,000. I've had a couple of higher-end Chinese watches on my channel in that price range, namely from Peacock, that is actually supplying the movement for this watch. And although it is hard to comprehend a Chinese-made watch that costs thousands of dollars, as we're used to their affordable brands and their production of probably like 90% of micro brands, their watchmaking is a lot more than that. In the case of Peacock, the price can be easily justified. They're one of the oldest Chinese brands, founded in the 50s. They make complicated movements and supply other brands as well. Think of them as Jaeger-LeCoultre of China. But in the case of Atelier Wen, it is almost a micro brand, founded by two French gentlemen a few years ago, not half a century ago, and using a third-party movement, while giving us the hyped-up and currently popular integrated bracelet sports watch design. You kinda ask yourself why ask and why pay so much for this? There are more than a few reasons, but the main one, and one that could possibly justify the price on its own, is the dial. A guilloche pattern made the old way, by using a rose-turning machine that you turn with your hand. Modern ones are made using machines that do it themselves, including CNC machines, but the old way depends on the skill of the person operating it. The speed, pressure, and smoothness of operation all affect the final result, which makes pattern making a very time-consuming and skill-demanding job. Currently, it is believed only about 30 people in the world can be called masters of guilloche dial making the old way. Of those 30, there is only one in China, Master Cheng Yu Cai, that is self-taught, has a small studio, and a handful of students that are trying to continue the tradition. It takes him 8 hours to complete a single dial, and that is if he manages to complete it without errors, as a single slip or mistake turns the dial into scrap metal. It is sometimes hard for people to understand the appeal of handcrafted arts and products. I know I struggled when I was younger, as my family owned a small tableware shop, and one of the things we sold were crystal glasses and bottles. I couldn't understand why a whiskey glass decorated by a machine with each and every cut, facet, and decoration done perfectly was about 5 times cheaper than the same glass with imperfections and uneven cuts. And why would someone pay a premium for that? I was then explained that it is handmade and that it takes more time and effort to make one single glass than a whole package of machine-made ones. It's the same here. It is not just a product, it is in a way a work of art. Another thing that separates Atelier Wen from a regular microbrand is the fact they create a collection based on an art form or skill, develop it, launch a model, and after a couple hundred watches produced, they retire it. Their first model was celebrating porcelain dials, and despite being successful and stunning, it is no longer available. All this artistry and exclusivity would mean nothing if the rest of the watch was just average. Luckily, it is not. The finished quality on the case and bracelet is amazing, with all the outer and inner facets on every single link of the bracelet being hand-polished to a mirror finish. Not to mention, it is all done from 904L steel rather than the more usual 316. It's the same with the movement. It might be a third-party movement, but it is modified and finished to a high degree despite being almost completely hidden behind a very deep engraving of a Chinese stone lion. It not only has Geneva striping on the bridges, but each and every sink for the screws and jewels is polished, and all the screws are heat-blued, not painted. The fact they went through all that trouble on parts you can't even see is mind-boggling and truly a sign of a high-end watch brand. Thanks to the fact the movement is very thin, the watch itself is very thin, almost flowing into the bracelet, something many other integrated bracelet watches get wrong. Due to the thinness and size, this is the first such watch that wears comfortably and looks good even on my 6.5-inch wrist. All the others I tried looked weird and oversized. Helping the comfort is on-the-fly adjustment on the clasp, and it is one of the best I've seen so far, as you can operate it without taking off the watch. You simply press on the wonderfully finished logo and you can slide it back and forth. Having featured a lot of Chinese watches on my channel over the years, and having the ability to see them under macro has shown me the incredible leap in quality they made in recent years. And the one thing they were missing was an original design and a cool story behind it. Atelier Wen is trying to do exactly that. Show the world Chinese tradition and culture through watchmaking. And this model, together with the porcelain Odysseus, are truly stunning pieces of horology. I just can't wait to see what they come up with next. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed and found it useful. If you did, please like and subscribe, and until the next video, bye.